This is Adobe Acrobat DC Pro lab number 8, adding signatures and security. If you are following along in the book, you will notice that the instructions do look different than the current release of the software. Adobe is always making minor changes to the software, and of course the book isn't always caught up. The third edition is the latest, but you will see some differences if you're attempting to follow along on the book, but I have that covered in the video, so just be sure to pay attention to those minor differences. So in this lab, we're going to be first learning how to apply password protection to files. Adobe has two different levels for that. One level where you are allowed or not to read it, and the other actually protects the document if someone is able to read it, whether they can print it or make changes to it. In the second part, we're going to use the Adobe Sign feature and actually send some documents to yourself to be signed and go through that process. We're going to start by applying password protection to a PDF file. So we're going to open the file local logo.pdf, and we're going to go into a new tool that is called the Protect tool. You can see it here on the right. If you don't see it there, it's under the Tools tab near the bottom under Protect and Standardize. You can click on that. And now we're in that mode, and what we want to do to start with is protect this using a password. So click protecting using password, and this is what's different from the book. Go ahead and instead of using this up here, click on advanced options and click encrypt with password, and then go ahead and say yes to this message here. Now from the screen, we can go ahead and set two different types of passwords. The first one on top is setting a password just so you can open or read the document. So check that box. Go ahead and type a password in, and you can use whatever password you want. Just make sure you write it down and remember it. I am going to use KVCC123 for this password, and it doesn't need to be 6 characters or less. Also notice this is a weak password. Normally you'd want to use much stronger passwords than that. Also, to restrict editing, we're going to say printing allowed low resolution and changes allowed only for commenting. And then we're going to put a password in there. I'm going to use Adobe 123. And once that's in, go ahead and hit the OK button. Now after you've hit OK, then notice that you have to confirm the password. So the first one, that first password was the KVCC123 that I used to read, and hit OK. And it's okay, you're going to see this message. You can actually click Do Not Show Again. It's saying that some documents opened with third-party non-Adobe software may not accept that password or even enforce it. So I hit OK on that, and then this is the second password for the permissions for editing, and that was the Adobe 123, and hit OK on that one. And now this is the same security settings will not be applied until you save it, so remember that. We're going to go ahead and click Do Not Show on that again. Now that we've completed those security settings, we're going to go ahead and do a Save As. This is your first lab file, so do a File Save As, and as usual, use the same technique we've been using. This will be your name, Lab 8 Part 1, and hit Save. And then go ahead and close that. We're going to reopen it, and we will see if the password settings are actually working. So we're going to go ahead and try these security settings out now. Go ahead and open your lab file you just saved, and it's prompting for that first password. So that's the KVCC123 that I put in, and hit OK, and now we can get into it. So we can read it at this point, but we can't edit it. So if I click on Edit PDF, notice that it asks for the other password. That's the Adobe 123. And if you hit OK, now we can edit this page. We can go ahead and close this document now and close everything out. We will go ahead and not save the changes, and now that file is ready to turn in. For this next part, we're going to open the second PDF that you downloaded called Statement of Work.pdf. I'm going to go ahead and set this to fit on one full page. And we're going to again open the same feature we've been using, which is the prepared form function. And this time we're going to leave it single file. Check this document requires signatures. Make sure auto detection is on and click the Start button. And then hit OK. Now if we scroll down to the authorization signature page, which is the last page, this is where we're going to be working. Okay, so we're at the last page. I'm going to make this a little larger so you can see it. We're going to add actually 8 fields on both sides of this, the Global Corp and the Custom Solutions. And the first 4 fields are going to be signed, set to sign by the signer, and the second 4 will be for the sender. So we're going to go through how to do that. If you look on top, you'll see a number of icons we haven't used yet. The first one is a signature field icon. Click that one and drag the box down to the signature on the left. And we're going to leave that set for signer. If you click this, you see a number of options, but we want this one to say signer, as all of these on this side will say signer, so we use the default. So the next one you're going to pick is the title or the name field, which is the person shape up here, and then you're going to click that one, and the same, you leave it default. The next one is the title field, which looks similar, but the person's wearing a tie and the icon, and we're going to click that and move that down for the title. And then the calendar icon will give you the date field. Now we've been able to leave these default because they all say signer. Now we'll do the other side here. The only difference is going to be that these are going to be for the sender. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. Start with the signature field, but this time on the pull down we're going to select sender, and then go on through and put the name field in and set sender, the title field, and set that for sender, and last the date field, and that is of course sender as well. Before we continue now, we're going to be using the Adobe Sign feature. We're going to go ahead and save this, so do a file save as, and we're going to save it as our usual setup. It's going to be your name, and this time it'll be Lab 8 Part 2, and click the Save button. Make sure you save that under the new name. So for this next step, you're going to need 2 email addresses. The first one is going to be where it's being sent from, and that has to be the email associated with your Adobe account, whatever that may be. The second one is going to be the receiver, so that has to be a different email address. You can use your KVCC email or any other email as long as you have access to it and it's different from the one associated with your Adobe account. Okay, on this part we're going to go ahead and send this out for signatures, and this happens through your Adobe account that you set up. So click on Adobe Sign, and the easiest way to do this is actually click the More Options button and then wait for it, and we're going to have the recipient's emails in order. So the first email is going to be whatever email is not on your Adobe account. In my case, I'm using my KVCC account. And the second account is going to be whatever is associated with your Adobe account. And as you can see, when I put that in, it recognized as being my account, so it'll put myself in this because it recognizes that is your master Adobe account. Now, we're not going to add anything else, but keep in mind you can add text to this message here. You can also add more files as attachments as well. But as long as you have the first email address it goes to is the one that is not your Adobe account, and the second one is going to be your Adobe account. Click the Next button, and it will process it. Now, the amount of time that takes is going to vary depending on how fast your internet connection is and how fast your computer is. And now, as you can see, we have this is what the first person is going to see, and you still have to click the Send button on top. So go ahead and click Send, and now it has successfully been sent for signatures. So I have logged in to my KVCC account, which is where I sent the first signature to. And I've received a message and opened it, and as you can see, you'll see something like this where it says Review and Sign. You go ahead and click on Review and Sign right in the email. And this is now in the Adobe Sign application. You actually see a little arrow there pointing to where it wants you to go. So now you can click here to sign the document electronically. So go ahead and click that. Now this has picked up a previously used signature here. I'm going to click that again, and what you have here is the ability to put your own signature. If you want to use that under the Draw option, you can use your mouse to try to sign it, which usually doesn't turn out too neatly. You can do that, and also you can type it in, and it just comes in print, or you can actually put an image or take a picture from a mobile device as well. We're going to stick with the drawn signature here and then hit Apply. And after that, the job title. And then it defaults to the current date, which is fine. Once that's finished, then go ahead and click the Sign button. And that pretty much takes care of the first signature. For the second signature, you can actually do this from your Adobe application. Now, I've closed the file that I just sent, and I'm going to go down to from the home page, down from the Recent to the All Agreements. And you'll see that this one on top says Waiting for You. The other two are previous tests of this. If you click on that, on the right here, you have the option to sign it. So here we have the button to sign it. Says one of two signatures completed and so forth. So click the Sign button. And now it is the same procedure as before, except this is the second half, and you can go ahead and click the Sign. If I click it again, you can see this one. I just took the image. I can go to Type if I want, and I can apply that. However you want to do that. Job title there. And of course you can leave the date. And this works exactly the same as the other one. Click the Sign button on the bottom, and now it's been completed. You can actually click on View Agreement, and if you go to the bottom, you'll see all the signatures are on there with the dates. These are digital signatures. You can go ahead and close this file now, and then the last thing we'll be doing is capturing a copy of the signed file, which you will turn in as well. Okay, I'm back to the Gmail. This is my Gmail associated with the Adobe account, and the last thing you're going to get is a confirmation message that both parties have signed it. And you should bring that one up, and that does give you a copy of it to download. So hover over that, click the download button, and that should download to your whatever folder you have set for download, and you're going to turn that file in as well. So there will be 3 files to turn in. The first one is just your local logo PDF that's had the security modified. And then the second 2 documents are nearly identical. The first one is your statement of work with just the signatures added but not signed. The second one is the one you have downloaded from your final email confirming that both signatures are on it. And when you download that, it will actually come out as part 2-sign.pdf, so you can turn it exactly that way. So there's the 3 files you're returning in. Make sure the third one has the actual signatures on it. This completes lab number 8. This is our last Adobe lab for the semester.